Hello there, thanks for joining me this Wednesday. I'm Mazlina Najib. These are tonight's top stories. Rosmah still at the MACC headquarters after more than 10 hours. Government can now sue individuals for defamation. And Bill Cosby sentenced to 3 to 10 years imprisonment for sexual assault. Datin Sri Rosmah Mansor is still at the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC headquarters in Putrajaya after more than 10 hours of questioning. Now this amid speculations that the wife of former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak will face corruption charges. Datin Sri Rosmah was at the Commission's headquarters since 10 a.m. to assist investigations into graft allegations involving SRC International Sdn Berhad. Earlier, her lawyers were seen going in and out of the building but refused to speak to the media. This is the second time she has been called in for questioning by the anti-graft agency. She was first summoned by the MACC on June 5th to assist in the probe into the former One Malaysia Development Berhad 1 MDB subsidiary. MACC Chief Commissioner Datuk Sri Shukri Abdul was quoted on Monday as saying that the investigations on Datin Sri Rosmah had been completed and that the report on the probe had been submitted to the Attorney General for further action. Now, Datuk Sri Najib will not be issuing any statements on 1MDB as he has claimed trial to 25 charges related to the Sovereign Wealth Fund. In his latest Facebook posting, the former Prime Minister said the trial has restricted him from making statements on the subject. This despite the judge rejecting the prosecutor's bid to stop him from organising or attending public events on the matter. Datuk Sri Najib also hopes to clear his name in court. Last Thursday, Datuk Sri Najib was slapped with 25 corruption charges involving about 2.3 billion ringgit allegedly taken from 1MDB. His first 4 charges were under the MACC Act, and the other 21 charges were under the Anti-Money Laundering and Anti-Terrorism Financing Act. Now, the Public Accounts Committee, PAC, will meet former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib on October 17th. This is to enable the committee to get his explanation on the 19.4 billion ringgit input tax credit under the Goods and Services Tax GST.
Its chairman, Datuk Sri Dr. Ronald Kiandi, in a statement today said the PAC would also be calling up current Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng on October 22nd for his views on the matter. The PAC also has decided unanimously to ask former Treasurer General Tan Sri Irwan Serigar Abdullah to appear on October 16th, although he has attended previous proceedings on September 13th. Datuk Sri Dr. Kiandi added that the committee hopes to come up with a conclusion and provide suggestions to the government on the issue, with a full report on the matter tabled in the Dewan Rakyat after all 3 individuals have provided their explanation. Last month, the Dewan Rakyat was told that the previous government was not able to refund companies their tax credit following the implementation of the GST because 93% of the money was not placed in the correct account. Lim claimed that some 18 billion ringgit of the input tax credit under the GST had been robbed by the previous administration. He later stated that as of May 31st, the outstanding GST refund sum stood at 19.39 billion ringgit.
The federal court has ruled that federal and state governments can sue individuals for defamation. Now, in a landmark ruling, the Apex Court had rejected the common law Derbyshire principle that public authorities cannot bring action against a person for lowering their reputation. In an unanimous decision, the federal court today dismissed an appeal by former Kuching MP and state DAP chief Chong Cheng Jen against the Sarawak government. In 2013, the state government and State Financial Authority filed the action relating to Chong's allegation that 11 billion ringgit had disappeared into a black hole. The allegation was published in a Chinese national daily and a news portal, as well as in pamphlets distributed by Chong and the DAP. Court of Appeal President Justice Ahmad Ma'ruf, who chaired the 5-man federal court bench, also ordered the case to be remitted back to the Kuching High Court. He also said the Court of Appeal was wrong to rule that Chong was liable for defamation without hearing his defences. The case has been fixed for case management at the Kuching High Court on October 3rd. Now, former Tabung Haji Chairman Datuk Sri Abdul Aziz Abdul Rahim, his elder brother and their cousin have been remanded for 4 days. This was to facilitate MACC investigations into a corruption case involving a Tabung Haji contract. Magistrate Shahwira Abdul Halim granted the remand order against the BALING Member of Parliament, which begins today until September 29th. Datuk Sri Abdul Aziz, who is also UMNO Supreme Council member, was detained at the MACC headquarters in Putrajaya at 11:15 a.m. yesterday after giving his statement to the Commission. His elder brother, Abdul Latif, who is a company director, was picked up at an undisclosed location in Sungai Buloh at 11:30 a.m. the same day. The third suspect, who is the sibling's cousin, also a company director, was detained later in the evening, also on the same day, at the MACC office. It was reported that they were detained to assist investigation into allegations of receiving bribes from a contractor of a project amounting into millions of ringgit. Previously, the MACC had conducted raids at Datuk Sri Aziz's houses in Subang and Baling, as well as his office on Jalan Tun Abdul Razak, Kuala Lumpur, on May 23rd, and seized 500,000 ringgit in cash, 20 watches, and several pieces of jewellery. Over in Pulau Pinang, the 29-year-old man detained yesterday for allegedly murdering his 63-year-old mother and dumping her body into a sewage tank has been remanded for a week to assist police investigations. Balik Pulau Magistrate Nur Azwin Abdul Moti granted the remand order beginning today. The case, which occurred in Kampung Sungai Burung, is being investigated under Section 302 of the Penal Code. It was earlier reported that the elderly woman, who has been missing from her home since last Wednesday, was found dead inside the sewage tank behind her house in Kampung Sungai Burung on Sunday. Police believe the victim, identified as Farida Ahmad Hashim, was killed by her son, who went into hiding after the murder. She was arrested yesterday at Jalan Air Puteh and had admitted to the crime. Two youths were charged with 3 counts of gang robbery at the Sungai Petani Sessions Court earlier this month. They were accused of robbing a convenience store, retail shop and laundromat at Bandar Putri Jaya, Sungai Petani, after CCTV footages of the heists went viral on social media recently. 21-year-old Muhammad Zulfikar Nazrik Muhammad Zahir pleaded guilty when the charges were read out to him before Judge N. Priscilla Hemamalini. However, the other accused, 19-year-old Muhammad Asmu Hairil Abbas, claimed trial to all 3 charges. The 3 robbery cases took place at the laundrette and the 2 shops in a span of 15 minutes on September 11th. One of the victims, a 37-year-old woman, was robbed of her valuables worth 10,000 ringgit while she was doing her laundry. One of the suspects was later arrested after his mother surrendered him to the police. The other was detained a few days later by a roadside in Juru, Pulau Pinang. The duo were charged under Section 395 of the Penal Code, which provides a maximum jail term of 20 years and whipping if convicted. The court did not grant bail to Muhammad Zulfikar Nazrik and fixed October 11th for sentencing, while Muhammad Asmu Hairil was allowed bail at 21,000 ringgit. The judge also set October 11th for remention of his case. Now, the death toll from methanol poisoning cases in Selangor, Kuala Lumpur and Perak stands at 37 people. In a special operation, police have also seized 435 bottles of bootleg booze in a raid at a premise in section U5 Bandar Suria in Kampung Baru, Subang yesterday.
District Police Chief Superintendent S. Somu said a 30-year-old man believed to be the owner of the shop was also arrested in the 9 p.m. raid and had been remanded until October 1st to assist investigations. He added the shop was believed to be selling bootleg alcoholic drinks of various brands, including those suspected to be contaminated with harmful substance, which caused the recent deaths. Checks found that the bootleg drinks were kept hidden at the back of the shop and were still sold to customers, especially foreigners, despite the rising death toll due to alcohol poisoning. The case was being investigated under the Customs Act. Since September 18th, police had conducted 11 raids in the district. Authorities also warned other shop owners who are still selling bootleg alcohol to stop the illicit activity.
A man died while another was severely injured when their car was hit by a train near Jalan Lapangan Terbang KKIA near Petagas Memorial Monument in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah today. It was learned that the train was travelling from Beaufort to Tanjung Aru station when it hit the Proton Privé when it tried to cross the tracks at 1:15 p.m. The car, which Muhammad Amir Khairi Abdul Ghani and Daniel Safwan Omar were in, was dragged nearly 200 meters after the impact. State Fire and Rescue Department spokesperson said they received a call at 1:18 p.m. before dispatching 11 personnel and 2 machineries to the location. Both victims were given treatment at the location before they were rushed to Queen Elizabeth Hospital. However, Daniel succumbed to his injuries at the hospital. The train continued its journey to Tanjung Aru station at about 2:30 p.m. Now over in Pahang, a mudslide brought traffic to a standstill at Jalan Simpang Pulai, Cameron Highlands, following a heavy downpour at about noon today. As of now, the rain has stopped. However, half of the road was still closed to traffic as the mud was still flowing down the hill slope. According to Cameron Highlands Fire and Rescue Services Department Chief Muhammad Hilmi Kashfi, the mudslide incident occurred at about 2:45 p.m, but no casualties were reported. He also said the incident was due to a concrete retaining wall which broke as a result of the heavy rain, sending a river of mud water down the hill slope. He also advised motorists heading to or from Cameron Highlands to be careful along the stretch as work to clean up the debris from the road is still underway. Now when we return, road bully arrested over road rage incident. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now let's take a look at our daily segment Clickbait for what's trending and making rounds in the cyber world today. So there's no escaping the arms of the law as police have arrested a factory operator in connection with the viral road rage and assault incident that happened on Monday near Queens Bay area. The video garnered over 21,000 shares within 24 hours. Other platforms also shared the video before the original post was taken down. In the post, the road bully victim, Nana Tan, said she was in the car with her husband, who was slowly driving, and their 2 children heading to the mall, when suddenly a white Proton Saga behind them honked furiously and drove to the passenger side of their car, opened his window and hit their car's side mirror with his hand. The man then pulled over in front of their car, walked over and kicked their left side mirror broken. He was heard screaming that he had an emergency and that his wife had been admitted to the hospital. He then grabbed Tan's handphone that was used to record the act. Following some verbal exchanges, the man was spotted hitting the woman's head and demanded that she erased all the recordings. Tan suffered swelling on her left fingers from the incident. In the end, some passerby stopped and tried to calm down both parties. The lady got her phone back and the family went to make a police report about the incident. Southwest District Police Chief Superintendent A.A. Anbalagan said the 30-year-old suspect was picked up in Teluk Kumba at 12:15 a.m. today to assist with investigations. So remember, peeps, a little patience goes a long way. Now moving on, Meghan Markle is receiving so much love on the internet right now for closing her own car door. On Tuesday, the Duchess of Sussex attended her first ever solo outing for the opening of the Oceania exhibit at the Royal Academy of Art in London and was captured on camera closing her own car door. Now this, it turns out, is apparently a really big deal. Upon arriving at the event, she exited her car, shook hands with one of the hosts, then turned around and, well, shut the door. And one can only wonder how people on Twitter were simply shooketh. Well, an oddball wondered if it really mattered that she closed her own door. To be clear, this isn't even the first time MARKLE has shut her own car door since becoming a royal. People notes that she also did the honours last week upon arriving at the launch of her Together Our Community cookbook. Okay, so although it's a rarity, turn out some royals close their own doors like the rest of us normal folks. Now, updated as of 7 p.m, here are the top trending topics and searches on the internet today. From luxurious parties with Hollywood stars, expensive gifts for his acquaintances, to over-the-top lifestyle with the rich and famous, it seems like Low Tek Jo or Jolo, the man behind the One Malaysia Development Berhad 1 MDB scandal, always hungered for more. Now, this was among the things exposed in the billion-dollar Whale, a tell-all book on the fugitive financier. The author, Tom Wright, shares his insights in an exclusive interview with our reporter, Nadia Mohsin.
Written by Wright and fellow Wall Street Journal journalist Bradley Hope, the book sheds more light on the 1MDB saga, including insights into the multi-billion-dollar lifestyle of Low, which make this book appealing especially. In fact, copies of the book were sold out in bookstores nationwide since 2 weeks ago. However, there are some quarters who are not happy about the book and question its content. During our interview, Wright defended the book, stating it was the result of journalism based on ongoing investigations into the massive scandal in the US and Singapore, among others.
Is there evidence, Tom?
We had to go to every single Hollywood star, every single, Malaysian politician, everybody who's mentioned, we contacted. Some people helped us. Others didn't want to, but yeah, everyone had the right to reply for sure. The main characters here, NAJIB, Jolo, the Petro Saudi executives, they were all given the chance to respond to the allegations against them, and very few of them took up. We don't make up dialogue. We don't make up events. Everything is grounded in reporting.
So you went there, talked to people?
Yeah, yeah. We talked to over 100 people for this book, and many of whom had been at these events. Like, wanted to know what happened in a scene. Maybe you knew something happened because of a document, but you wanted to really flesh it out. Then you had to find people who were there, and it was very difficult to find people and then to get them to talk. But the more we investigated this, the more we were able to find those people, and a lot of them are in the background. We don't name them, but they helped us to put the meat on the bones.
Wright said his sources included a number of Playboy magazine playmates in a bid to get some juicy details on Jolo's birthday party. The author also claimed the key to Jolo's wealth was Datin Sri Rosmah Mansor, the wife of former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak.
Rosmah was obviously the mother of Riza Aziz, and Riza Aziz was a friend of Jolo's. So one of the ways that Jolo got to know then Deputy Prime Minister Najib was through Rosmah. And then obviously Rosmer appears to have benefited from the assets that she got, including the $27 million diamond, as detailed by the Department of Justice in their civil asset forfeiture lawsuits. So she is still the focus of investigations.
Due to such serious allegations, it was likely the book will never get released here if the results of the 14th general election was in favour of Barisan Nasional instead, and Datuk Seri Najib remains in power.
There was a fake news law that had been promulgated just ahead of the book, and I'm for sure would have been used to stop its distribution in Malaysia. But it would not. But you cannot stop journalism, and you cannot stop works of reportage getting out there.
Datuk Seri Najib had been slapped with 25 charges involving the alleged deposit of 2.6 billion ringgit into his personal account, a case linked to the 1MDB scandal. And his wife, Datin Sri Rosmah, is expected to face at least 20 criminal charges. As for the mastermind himself, Joe Low, he still remains in hiding till today. Nadia Mohsen for 7 Edition. Nadia Mohsen for Nightline TV3.
Now, the Prime Minister's office has announced Dr. Hasnita Hashim as the new chairman of the government's Bumiputra Economic Powerhouse, MARA. Hasnita, who has a PhD in nuclear physics from Oxford, is currently a board member of Maybank Banking Berhad and heads the Maybank Asset Management Group. The PMO also announced the appointment of 6 new board members, comprising a who's who of prominent Malaysians. Now, they include former Proton CEO Tengku Tan Sri Mahalil Tengku Arif, retail giant Maidin MD Dato' Amir Ali Maidin, and International Islamic University Rector Tan Sri Zulkifli Abdul Razak. Meanwhile, the Group CEO of Post Malaysia Al-Ishal Isha has been appointed the new chairman of the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission, MCMC. Communications and Multimedia Minister Gobind Singh Deo in a statement said the appointment is for 2 years, effective October 1st. Media Prima Digital announced that its wholly owned subsidiary Rev Asia has entered into an agreement with US-based digital media conglomerate Ziff Davis to operate Mashable Southeast Asia, which caters audience across Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines and Singapore. Mashable, a brand under Ziff Davis since 2017, is a global multi-platform media and entertainment brand reaching 70 million unique content visitors per month worldwide, on top of a social media following of 28 million. Now, Managing Director of Rev Asia, ZK Vun, is optimistic that the partnership will help to capture better digital advertising opportunities in the region. Under the agreement with Rev Asia, the site will curate and localize the best of Mashable's fun and offbeat global content, while adding original content specifically sourced and produced for the region. More after the break. What's next for the once beloved as American dad? The details when we come back. Don't go away. We're back with foreign news. Now, disgraced television icon Bill Cosby was sentenced to between 3 and 10 years in prison for sexually assaulting a woman at his Philadelphia mansion 14 years ago. The 81-year-old, once beloved by millions as America's dad, became the first celebrity of the #MeToo era to be jailed for his crimes. Cosby was found guilty at a retrial in April 26 of 3 counts of sexual assault for drugging and molesting Andrea Constant, a former Temple University administrator. The actor was impassive when Judge Stephen O'Neill handed down the sentence in Norristown, Pennsylvania. O'Neill also fined Cosby $25,000 and ordered him to pay the costs of the prosecution. Cosby, however, can apply for parole after 3 years, but his request will be reviewed by a special committee and can be rejected up to a maximum sentence of 10 years behind bars. Around 60 women, many of them one-time aspiring actresses and models, have publicly branded Cosby as a serial predator who plied victims with sedatives and alcohol to bed them over 4 decades. Now, over in India, a 4-story building collapsed in northwest Delhi's Ashok Vihar, killing a woman and 4 children. At least 9 people were also injured in the incident, out of which 3 are in critical condition. Authorities said the search and rescue operation is still ongoing, as several people are still trapped under the debris. According to a preliminary investigation, the 20-year-old building was declared unsafe by the Municipal Corporation of Delhi MCD. Continuous rains for the past couple of weeks may have triggered the collapse, while the cause of the incident remains under investigation. Now, a bit of sports football. The German Bundesliga, Bayern Munich's perfect start to the season is over after they were held to a 1-1 draw by Augsburg, thanks to a late equalizer from Felix Götze. The opening goal came 2 minutes after the break, when Arjen Robben cut in to blast the ball into the roof of the net. The game was about to end when substitute Felix Götze chested home the equalizer following a blunder by Bayern's goalkeeper Manuel Neuer. Bayern pushed on for the winner in the remaining period, but the score remained 1-1, bringing an end to their run of 4 straight victories at the start of the season. Warner Brothers has officially released a final Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald trailer that teases a major connection to the Harry Potter franchise and will hit Malaysian theatres on November 15th. Take a look at the trailer as we wrap up 7 Edition this evening. I am NAJIB. Thanks for watching and have a good night.
It's good to have a place to go. The clock is ticking fast. My dream, we who live for truth, for love. The moment has come to take our rightful place in the world where we wizards were free. Join me or die.
See, I don't do well on boats.
You'll be fine.
You don't have to pick a side.
No, I don't do sides.
What are you gonna do? You never met a monster you couldn't love.
Let's take him.